ध्वनिर्वर्णापदम् वाक्यमित्यास्पदचतुष्टयम् यस्याः सूक्ष्मादिभेदे वाग्देवीं तामुपास्महे।
The Electronic Media Production and Research Center EMPRC of Madhya Pradesh Bhuj Open University presents an audio program on English literature. This audio program will be useful to the students of BA first year. This audio program is based on the 7th unit of first paper titled Literature in English from 1550 to 1750 AD. The title of audio program is Classical and Romantic Concepts of Imagination. To deliver the lecture on this topic, we have invited our subject expert, Dr. Vikas Jaulkar, sound edited and presented by Amar Bahadur Yadav. Now let's listen to the first part of audio program, Classical and Romantic Concepts of Imagination.
Hello students, we welcome you to this presentation. This presentation is meant for BA first year students, and today's topic is Classical and Romantic Concepts of Imagination. Students, this topic is under the historical and literary topics. There are a lot number of topics in your course content, but today we have taken up classical and romantic imagination. So let us discuss about this topic. The specific objectives for today's lecture are: you shall be able to describe the background of the classical age. You shall be able to describe the background of romantic age. You shall be able to describe the meaning of imagination, describe the features of classical imagination. So these were certain objectives with which this lecture has been prepared and being presented. Let us discuss something about the main points of today's lecture. The classical age, changed outlook, characteristics of classical movement, imagination, the concept of image, and classical concept of imagination. In the end of the lecture, we shall discuss about the recapitulation, that means summing up of the entire lecture. So let us start this lecture. The classical age. Students, you have in your course content Dryden and Pope. So you are well aware of the classical age. That means this is an age of 17th century. The period 17th century, and this classical movement is an important movement in the history of English literature. Why? Because this movement is known by three titles. The period 17th century or the classical movement can be discussed under three heads. The classical age, with reference to the standards it pleaded. The standards were very known. And what is the basic feature of the classical age? That's true, didactic. That means teaching, didactic literature. The Augustan age, students have already undergone the Augustan age. That means it resembled that of Emperor Augustus. And Emperor Augustus is known for his contribution, and Dr. Johnson said that Dryden did for English letters what Augustus did for the city of Rome, which he found brick and left marble. So it's very clear from the quotation of Dr. Johnson that King Augustus did a lot number of things for the country, and Dryden was also compared with King Augustus because he contributed to a lot number of features as far as 17th century English poetry is concerned. So this quotation is very apt, very appropriate, and Dryden and Augustus, King Augustus, are here compared. This is also the age of reason and good sense. Reason, there wasn't any unreasonable thing. The poets used to take up the matter from their contemporary society, and good sense because there was no unnecessary or harsh statement, and a type of good sense prevailed over there. That means this poets used to give teachings also. The ideal of the French critic Boileau, who formulated the ideal of good sense in 1673. This is to be remembered because good sense goes with Boileau, who formulated the ideal. Changed outlook. Students, 17th century is also known for the changed outlook. Why? You have in your course content John Donne as a metaphysical poet also. So let us discuss this point with special reference to the metaphysical poetry of the previous poetry. A change in English poetry about the middle of 17th century, since the classical age belongs to 17th century. So there was a type of change from the poetry which was written previously. The wave of metaphysical poetry had exhausted itself. Students, you have in your course content poem of John Donne. John Donne's poetry is known for hyperbole and its vagueness. Hyperbole and conceits are two important characteristic features which John Donne employed. So the wave of metaphysical poetry had exhausted itself and left literary standards and values confused. That means there was no way to go about. There was an utter confusion as far as the values, the literary values were concerned. And it was a reaction. Which was a reaction? 17th century English poetry was a reaction against metaphysical excesses. Why excesses? Because metaphysical poets were very difficult, very obscure to understand. Edmund Waller and Sir John Denham were the pioneers of the classical movement. Students, you must keep in your mind these two important names, Edmund Waller and John Denham, because they are known for the heroic couplet, a form of English poetry. Very soon, the new spirit made itself felt in all branches of literary activities. That means now the poets, the literary writers were understanding the importance of what they needed to do. Waller, Pater, and Denham led the reaction against metaphysical excesses. They are known in the history of English literature for heroic couplet. Seneca provided the model for tragedy, plot, and Terence for comedy, and Virgil for epic and pastoral. These important names, Seneca, Virgil, need to be kept into mind because these are important writers who contributed in their specific fields, such as tragedy, plot, and Terence for comedy, and Virgil for epic and pastoral. Pastoral, you know, John Milton, known for his pastoral poetry. Juvenal is yet another name, and who is contributed towards satire, and Horace with his Ars Poetica for literary taste and criticism. So students, these names must be kept in mind because they are very important as far as English literature is concerned. Ars Poetica is an important hallmark. John Dryden and Alexander Pope drew inspiration from Waller and Denham. John Dryden and Alexander Pope are known to you because you have in your course content the poems of John Dryden and Alexander Pope. Shadwell and Alexander Pope's an essay on criticism. Dryden's certain important poems are Absalom and Actipol, the Medal, the Hind and the Panther. These are certain important poems. Now Pope, Alexander Pope also has been taught to you in your course content. Pope's important poems include the Epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot, the Rape of the Lock. And an essay on criticism is a small piece of poem that has been prescribed in your course content. Now, characteristics of classical movement. Let us discuss about the characteristics of classical movement. Respect for rules in verse, drama, epic, satire, ode, and pastoral. Students, respect for rules. That means they were led by certain rules and they never used to deviate from these rules while writing their verses, drama, epic, satire, ode, and pastoral. Here we are only concerned about the poems. And John Dryden and Pope are clear examples of followers of rules. John Dryden and Pope, they never deviated from the classical tradition. Good sense and intellectual quality. Students, you have in your course content a short piece of poem, Shadwell, and an essay on criticism. You must have appreciated these two poems for these two important characteristic features like good sense and intellectual quality. A set poetic style, again a set poetic style, heroic couplet was an important characteristic feature as far as the set poetic style was concerned. So this was heroic couplet. Classical movement established the rule of law in literature. This must be kept in mind. Rule of law in literature, that means they had formulated certain rules and they never deviated from those rules of writing. That means they were never harsh, they were always very creative. There was a type of teaching in their literature, and heroic couplet, again an important feature of their poems. Metaphysical poets had abused the ideal of liberty. We have already discussed metaphysical poets, they used conceits and hyperboles, and the spiritual quality of their poetry was very, very difficult to understand, and in that sense, they never took any liberty. The Romantic Revival was an answer to it. In the beginning of the 19th century, Romantic Revival came into being, and there was a marked difference of what Romantic poets had in their mind as compared to what was there in the 17th century poetry. And important Romantic poets are Wordsworth, Coleridge, Shelley, Keats. So these were important poets. The followers of Dryden and Pope forgot the plea of order and restraint. So there wasn't any order and restraint. Romantic poetry is devoid of these things. They took every type of liberty in writing their poems, and there was no restraint as to what subjects they were writing about. They were writing about nature, they were writing about the supernatural elements, they were writing about the fancy, they were writing about making use of imagination and the childhood activities. Tintern Abbey is yet another example where three stages of nature are to be found, where the childhood and the old age have been beautifully connected, and Wordsworth is known for it. He is also known for his metaphysical imagination. So there was a marked difference between the poetry of 17th century and the poetry of Romantic age. There was a need to replace the classical literature. Romantics were very different in their outlook, in their treatment of subject, and in their use of poetic form. So there was a need to replace what classicals had done. In this manner, classical characteristics of poetry are fully, totally different from those of romantic traits of poetry. You have in your course content Dryden and Pope. You have in your course content Wordsworth, Coleridge and Shelley. I believe that you have in depth undergone these poets and their poetic traits, and you must have believed that there was a marked difference as far as their treatment of subject and their imagination goes. We are talking of imagination here. Classical writers were didactic, whereas the romantics were imaginative. In Biographia Literaria, Coleridge also makes a difference between imagination and fancy. In next part, we shall be discussing these things in a greater length. Imagination. What is imagination? The role of imagination in creative process is very important. Without imagination, students, no creative process can be possible. You imagine of a lot number of things, but when it comes to writing, the imagination is altogether a different imagination. Unless a person imagines something, imagines about something, he cannot write or he cannot create a type of literature. So the role of imagination in creative process is very important. Imagination and fancy, what is the total difference between these two? S.T. Coleridge distinguished between them in his Biographia Literaria in 1817. Biographia Literaria is a hallmark, an important work of Coleridge, in which process of poetry and a lot number of other aspects of writing have been dealt with. Fancy acted in a mechanical way to recognize images in mind. So this is a definition. Fancy acted in a mechanical way. So it's a mechanical way. Fancy is a mechanical way to recognize images in the mind. Images are always there in the back of your mind. But imagination was the creative faculty. These distinctions need to be kept in mind. Imagination was the creative faculty. That means for creating, for writing a piece of literature, this type of creative faculty of mind is very necessary, whereby you can, or a writer can, create a masterpiece of literature. One is synthetic and the other is magical. The concept of image. What is an image ultimately? It's a mental picture or idea. You see something, you hear about something, you know something, and a mental picture is created in your mind. So it's a mental picture. The actual description in the writing. But when it comes to the actual use of this mental picture, there is a type of writing. So the actual description is very important. A figure of speech. There are a lot number of figures of speeches. You have already undergone these in your course content, such as metaphor or a simile, use of comparison. A symbol used in writing. That means it's a symbol. A figure of speech is a type of symbol which is used in the writing. Classical concept of imagination. Let us discuss about the classical concept of imagination, since this topic for today's discussion is based on the classical concept of imagination. Till we have discussed about the classical age, important poets, important poems, important literary pieces, about image, about imagination, and now let us discuss about the classical concept of imagination. The classical poets aimed at finish and decorum. Dryden and Pope are good examples of what we say finish and decorum. Decorum is an important part because the poets of 17th century were never harsh, but they were basically teachers. In your course content, these two examples of poems are prescribed, and you must have undergone these two things, finish and decorum. Again, we may talk of the heroic couplet and the decorum. The decorum means there is no unnecessary criticism of anyone, but a balanced account of things and persons have been given. Ancients as the models. Horace, etc. Again, ancient is the model, and according to Pope, what is according Pope? Hail bards triumphant, born in happier days, immortal heirs of universal praise. He praises the ancients, the models, and this is a good example of the appreciation he has for his models. They imitated the ancients. Who imitated? The classical poets imitated the ancients. Persians and Greeks, like turns of nature found. Again, it's a quotation from a poem. So, Persians and Greeks were the ancient models for the classical writers. Their poetry was didactic. Didactic means it was not harsh, it was not only criticism, but there was a religious feature about it. They were very balanced, so their poetry was didactic. Wit and reason, again, two important characteristic features of 17th century poets. Wit, Pope's A Rape of the Lock or an essay on criticism, but wit is to be found in Shadwell also. And reason, again, is an important hallmark. Why? Because they were very reasonable in saying something. They were never cruel against the people and the social conditions, and reason was always kept in mind before attacking someone for something that was not liked by the poets. Suspect of imagination. Students, this is an important feature because it is said that imagination is not to be found in the poetry of 17th century, whereas didactic nature of poetry prevailed. But without imagination, students, no piece of art can be constructed. But this was the imagination which was fully different from the romantic imagination. And since the poetry of 17th century was didactic in nature, wit and reasons were two other features, so the poets were suspect of imagination. A great master of contempt, again, A Rape of the Lock or an essay on criticism. Dryden's poems are meant for this element which is called contempt. The use of satire, again, an important feature of the 17th century English poetry. They were very satirical about incidents and persons. See the example. All human things are subject to decay, and when fate summons, monarchs must obey. Can you name the poem? Yes. An essay on criticism. Shadwell is an important character, and Shadwell has been criticized in this piece of poem. Free from harshness and violence, you have already undergone this piece of poem where you may easily find that it is free from harshness and violence. So the satire is there, the satirical part is there, but there is no harshness and violence. That means it is a creative satire. Pope's poetic criticism of life was through heroic couplet. We have already discussed the heroic couplet. It's line of 10 syllables rhyming together. So heroic couplet was always there. Chaucer was the first English poet who used heroic couplet, but in romantic poetry we find this in Keats also. Use of simile. The horse of verse should like the torrent. An essay on criticism. This is a quotation from the poem. Metaphor is this figure of speech by which a name or an action is assigned to another. Students, this is the definition of metaphor, and you must cram this definition. It is going to be of utmost importance as far as the examination is concerned. These figures of speeches are to be used time and again so that you also gather the real meaning of all these figures of speech. In your poems, you have certain figures of speech and just try to answer those small questions. The example here being smooth stream is smoother number. True is in writing comes from art, not chance. Again, this is an oft quoted line from an essay on criticism. Here is a type of criticism. True is in writing comes from art, not chance. That means a distinction between what should be done and not just by way of happening. Use of alliteration. Alliteration, use of same sound or words. You have this definition very easily at the back of your mind. Harshness gives offense. Again, see the syllables. And echo to the sense. Again, O, and use of S. Soft is the strain. Again, S, and here also S. Smoother numbers. R is there. Words move slow. Again, this is a type of example. These are to be found in your course content and essay on criticism. Recapitulation. Students, we have discussed about the classical characteristic features of poetry. We have also discussed about the important contributions made by certain poets of the classical age. We have also discussed about image, imagination, and classical concepts of imagination. Now, to recapitulate again, to give you a clear picture of what we have discussed. The classical age is described in many ways. Again, changed outlook was an important feature, respect for rules and good sense, a reaction against metaphysical excesses, imitation of the ancients, and didactic literature were important characteristic features. In next part, we shall discuss about the romantic concept of imagination as compared to the classical concept of imagination. Thank you.
You were listening to first part of an audio program, Classical and Romantic Concepts of Imagination. Subject expert and speaker was Dr. Vikas Jaulkar. Announcer was Vinita Jain. This audio program was edited and presented by Amar Bahadur Yadav. This program was produced by the Electronic Media Production and Research Center EMPRC of Madhya Pradesh Bhoj Open University in association with NITTTR Bhopal.